Hello there folks, and welcome back to the Chaps Guide, the channel where we talk about men's style, self-development and personal grooming. And one of my favourite parts of personal grooming is actually fragrances, colognes, because I'm a very sensory person and I love the smell of things. It really lifts the mood and sets the tone for the day that I'm going to have, or the evening that I'm going to have, or wherever I'm going. So a very important part for me. And I make this video just as we're transitioning in the UK from summer into autumn. Really, the weather is changing. It's not quite so bright and sunny, still fairly warm, but I know that the colder, darker, damper days are just around the corner. And for me, that means a transition between my fragrances as well as a transition between the seasons. In the summertime, I always favour, zesty, fresh, aqua and citrus imbued fragrances. And for me, the autumn and the winter time means a change to those more sophisticated, perhaps stronger, more masculine and musky fragrances of the more traditional style. And there can be very few which are more traditional, of course, than Aramis Classic, which joins me here today in its eau de toilette form, because Aramis was originally, in fact, launched in 1963 before going on to global launch in 1966 by the Estee Lauder company. Now, of course, Estee Lauder itself is a giant in the world of cosmetics of all types. It was launched in 1946 in New York by Estee Lauder and her husband, and it remains one of the huge players in global cosmetics. In 2017, it turned over something in the tune of 12 billion US dollars. So it is certainly a big player, and Aramis is very much a part of that story. Since 1966, it has been ever present in the list of men's favourite colognes. And in fact, it was one of the first colognes ever to be universally sold in department stores, which made it quite unique, because up to that point one would have to go to boutiques or perfumiers to buy prestige gentlemen's colognes. The department stores would have been the preserve of the perhaps cheaper, more mass market fragrances, but Aramis became a prestige cologne that you could just go out and buy in your ordinary place of shopping. And to a way, it democratized the men's cologne world, perhaps over there in the States and then globally since 1966. Now, still produced by Estee Lauder and still as popular today as I believe it would have been in its earlier days. Aramis is an interesting story, actually. It's named after a Turkish exotic root which is famed for its aphrodisiac qualities, which perhaps one might say so is Aramis the fragrance as it's imbued. Hence some of the marketing material which Estee Lauder puts out, just like this one.
Really? See, sorry. All the man is Aramis, the fragrance for men.
As you can see, it's very much sort of zoning in on that masculine, traditional, well-dressed man appeal, and that kind of is exactly what I think of when I smell Aramis, and it kind of occupies that place for me. It is, in fact, a very strong, leathery, woody, musky fragrance in the classic men's style. So let's give it a smell. The important thing, of course, when it comes to any cologne, any fragrance, is how it smells. Everything else is superfluous. So let's give it a go. As I say, eau de toilette. So let's have a little squirt on the back of the hand there. And let's see how that smells, shall we? Very much as I thought, and as I remember. I've been using this stuff for a few years now, and it never disappoints. At the top notes, it's quite a green, bergamot imbued fragrance with a bit of gardenia and artemisia, very kind of floral as well. And in the heart notes, you get Definitely some sandal, some vetiver, and a bit of patchouli as well. And of course, it's probably most renowned for the base note that it'll settle down as when it's been on the skin for a little while. And that's the leather, woody, amber fragrances, which I think most people would describe Aramis as being synonymous with. It's that leathery, sandalwood, woody fragrance which is left with you. And as I say, it's very masculine in very many ways. In fact, in almost every way I would describe it as. So let's talk about some of the specifics. How could you wear this? When would you wear it? Well, as I've said already, this is a cool seasonal fragrance for me because of its strength, and it is quite sophisticated. There's a lot going on with the fragrance. It changes quite a bit when it's been on the skin for a little while. I think it lends itself very much to the winter, where the weather is darker, where it's wetter, where it's just a damper environment, and you need a fragrance with a bit more punch than you need in the summer, where you wear far fewer clothes and your fragrance gives a bit has a bit more to work with. In the winter time, your fragrance needs to work harder to get across because we're sort of covered up more often and we're indoors more often. So I like my fragrances to be stronger, more condensed in the winter, and Aramis really does hit home with that. This is definitely not a fragrance to the summer where it would be too overpowering and perhaps domineering in those summer fragrance company that it would keep. From an age point of view, I would say it's definitely more directed at the more mature gentleman. I would go as far as to say probably over 40. As ever though, that's not to say that if you're younger and you have a preference for these perhaps more classic conservative fragrances, that this would not be something you could wear. Of course not. It's open for everybody to wear. But by and large, I would imagine that most wearers of Aramis would be in the 40 plus category. And when would you wear it? Well, I would suggest in the evening rather than the daytime. Although it could be worn in the daytime, you need to be mindful this is quite a strong, in fact I'd go as far as to say very strong fragrance. So if you're in an office environment, if you're in an environment where you're close to other people throughout the day, you need to be mindful this could be overpowering. It could be a cloying fragrance that has a potential to hang over you a bit. So you don't want that to be forced onto other people's nostrils if you're close to them. So think about when you'd wear this. In the evening though, perhaps out in a social environment or going to the opera, as we always say. This is a fragrance which perhaps has got a little bit more punch for you there. And with that regard, you could easily wear it to a special occasion because it has that knockout blow that definitely announces your presence. It's not a shy and retiring fragrance, albeit quite traditional and classic. It definitely makes itself known. So it's got quite a bit of power to it. Hence, it would be a beneficial fragrance to wear to a special occasion where you want to perhaps announce your presence and let it be known that you are a person of taste who likes classically, originating fragrances like Aramis. Is it masculine? Well, very. This is probably one of the most well-renowned men's fragrances. It is exceptionally masculine. It could in no way ever be considered to be a unisex fragrance. It is for men through and through, and it definitely is something which I would consider masculine. And in fact, when I think of fragrances, I frequently in my own mind think of who would wear a fragrance like this? Who would be the fictitious character I could imagine wearing Aramis? And for me, I've always thought this is the sort of fragrance which a chap like Indiana Jones would wear. It's got that level of strength that a man entirely super masculine could easily wear with no concerns at all. On that subject, how is its projection, and how does it sort of push itself out there into the world? Well, it is very strong. Again, it's a fragrance that really will announce you, and it will leave a trail behind you when you go past people. So again, mindful about where you'd wish to wear this. Perhaps not for just everyday use. You need to think about it so that you're not going to be forcing this fragrance down somebody else's nose. Its longevity is very long. Once you put this on, it'll be active on your skin for 5-6 hours even, and actually you know, in the first hour or two, it's really quite strong. So gives you good value, actually. It really does work for you over the course of your day if you put it on in the morning. So you get quite a bit back from Aramis, to be fair. What do people say about it? Well, my wife has said this is one of the ones she rather likes. It's very classic, very masculine. She tends to like that sort of thing anyway. I don't think there'd be many ladies who dislike this. Unlike the advertising material, I don't think it makes people fall over, you know, with some sort of desire when they smell it. It's so frequently, you know, smelled. It's been around for a long time. It does feel a little dated in some degree, but classic conservative things tend never to go out of fashion. You know, they stay in style year after year, decade after decade, and I think Aramis is in that sort of category. So third party would probably say, nice smell, good cologne. They wouldn't probably make any more observations than that. Let's look at its delivery to us. What is it packaged as? Well, the bottle itself is a very straightforward, ordinary bottle. One might say not much thought has gone into it, really. It's just a simple square bottle with a tin top, tin and plastic on top. The little sort of sticker placard on it announcing that it's Aramis, telling us it's an eau de cologne. And let's have a look. It's an atomizer. Really good atomizer, good spray coming off that, which is great for applying. Need to be quite careful about the application of this. You only need 1 or 2 sprays because of its longevity and its power. So, you know, that atomizer is great for making sure you get good coverage. You wouldn't perhaps want it in condensed spots. So very simple presentation. When it comes to the box that it arrives in, doesn't tell you much about it. You know, it mirrors the plaque on the front in the box, and the box has a sort of fire effect or flames effect on it, not dissimilar to the sort of thing you'll see on a number of other manufacturers, bit like tobacco in a way. They do a similar box. So yeah, very good, very straightforward, nothing spectacular. How does it fare in the value stakes? Well, this is perhaps a little bit of its surprise. Although it's a classic, prestigious fragrance that's been around a long time, it is actually very modestly priced. And I bought this bottle, which is a 110 milliliter bottle, from Amazon for £20. So really good value for money for something which is, you know, instantly recognizable, has been around for 50 plus years, and is something you can wear. It's never going to go out of fashion. It's always going to be in style. You can buy this, go back to it in 2 or 3 years time, and it's going to be there ready for you in the cologne drawer in your home. So I think very good value, and a very good throwback to the mid 1960s. Actually, this is one which has stood the test of time fairly well. So to summarize very quickly, this is a very strong, musky, masculine fragrance that is really suited to the conservative, classic gentleman who perhaps enjoys a throwback to a bygone era, or people who just are quite happy to feel those power fragrances. Imagining Indiana Jones wearing something like this, it could cross the boundaries from being, you know, in the office at the same time out there doing frontier archaeological digs. It has got that sort of epoch opportunities within it. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed my observations on this absolute classic man's fragrance of Aramis. And there are a few flankers in the range as well, other fragrances which share the DNA of this, which perhaps we'll revisit as time goes on. Until then, if you've enjoyed today's video, please give us a thumbs up, and why not join us by clicking that subscribe button as well. Until the next time we meet, please take care of yourselves, and we'll see each other very soon.